evening. Thank you all for coming. Would you please stand for the flag salute and remain standing for prayer? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bless us, O Lord, as we gather today for this Freeholder meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so we may work together for the good of our community. Help us be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Amen.
Public announcement, please.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Also, pursuant to the 2019 bylaws, rules, and regulations of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington, time shall be set aside for the agenda and the receipt of public comments. Public comments will be received with aspects of the agenda items prior to board consideration of resolutions to be adopted. An additional opportunity for public comment will occur later in the meeting. Public comments shall be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Persons may speak once per public comment period. I direct the Deputy Clerk to enter into the minutes of this meeting this public announcement and the advance written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Hobson. Here. Freeholder Singh.
Here.
Freeholder Tiver.
Here.
Director Pulliam.
Here. This time, can I have a vote on the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of December 27, 2018?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, can I have approval of the minutes of the conference meeting of December 27, 2018?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This time, I'll open it up to the public, please. The public comments should be selected on the agenda items only. Anybody on the agenda items?
Hi, Carol Melvin, Springfield, G2. I was just curious, are you planning to hire someone who is currently a pensioner? Is that the reason for G2?
The
rescission.
Well, we are going to have employment opportunity, and upon consideration of what this resolution had done, it was very restrictive. Anybody who's taken any note of the already laws on the books of the state relative to unemployment of retirees already in the pension system, this was a little redundant, so that's why we're getting rid of it.
Okay, thank you.
Any more? Okay. This time I'll close public on agenda items. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Steve Jastelico Township. On the G2, can you tell me about how many people are affected by this? They're currently working for the county?
How many are affected?
Yes.
Well, what this is the resolution was put on the books that restricted anyone who wanted to be employed at the county but had previously worked for either the state, at the state level, already in the pension system and had retired. The resolution prohibited them, even though there's nothing that says that they're not allowed, and supported by state statute. So that's why it's being taken off. Somebody that's retired from the state still has the capability or the ability to apply for employment at the county level.
Were there county workers who are retired prior to this resolution who now can come back?
That's not my understanding, no. That's not my understanding.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions at this time? Okay, at this time I'll close the public comment on agenda items only. Can we please move the resolutions? I would like to propose the following resolutions, G1 through G4, by consent agenda, please.
Director, I'd like to separate item G2 from the consent agenda.
All in favor? Okay. So we'll remove it from the consent agenda G2. I would ask now that G1, G3, and G4 be approved by consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now I'd like to bring back to the agenda G2.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Freeholder Hobson.
Yes.
Freeholder Singh.
Yes.
Freeholder Tiver.
No.
Director Polian.
Yes. Okay. This time I'd like to know if there's any questions from the press. None? You sure?
Never happened.
Okay. Maybe talk to you later, right? Eric? Thanks for coming. At this time, I'll open up to the public, anything, public comments. Please come up to the, I'll read from the list that have signed in. Please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, please. Lee Yeesh.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Lee Yeesh. I live in Lumberton. I had been to Freeholder meetings before when they were talking about candidates for the Pinelands Commission and also for the Burlington County representative to the Pinelands Commission. I was extremely disappointed in what a closed-door, secretive process the whole thing turned out to be. There were candidates that I personally knew that had all sorts of qualifications about the environment, about science, things that were related to the Pine Barrens themselves, and yet it seemed like their names were never mentioned. There was no public input on them. You couldn't find them anywhere on a website. It's like they were non-existent. And then all of a sudden, Sean Erlin is picked as the Pinelands Commissioner for Burlington County. He, in my opinion, did not have the qualifications that exceeded some of the other candidates. What I would like to see, when there's candidates that are submitted for this Burlington County Commissioner, I want to see pictures and vitas, or something about the person on the Burlington County website. I want to see who's applied, what their qualifications are, and then I want there to be a chance for there to be some public input that actually matters, so that we as a county have input into who's going to represent us on this commission. Because it seems like the commissioners that are on there now could not care less about what happens through the Pinelands. Which brings me to another subject, the pipeline that goes through. Last month was a travesty in that the road permits were given so that they could put in that pipeline. There's still pending litigation on that. It serves no purpose to the Pinelands themselves. There is no plant or animal that's in the Pinelands that needs natural gas. I know it's a pipeline that goes underground, but when you dig up all that stuff and there's snakes that dig in through the ground, there's insects, there's plant roots, and you can't tell me that nothing's ever gone wrong with the pipelines. There is no benefit to putting it, especially through the preservation area of the Pinelands. It's like I said before, it's still under litigation. And no work should be done until all the approvals are met. So they have the road approvals, the road opening approvals to get that put in, but they still don't have the authorization to even put the pipeline in and get it up and running. So if they put it in, who's going to pay to take it out? I got 2 kids in college right now. I know it sounds like a piddly amount of money, but I don't want to spend it on that. I think I've said my piece, but so between the Pinelands commissioners and the pipeline, I would like more consideration put into those things. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to mess this up, I think.
Carol,
Is it Carol Melman? Oh, okay.
Springfield.
Hi, Carol.
How you doing? I'm back again. Very first thing, when you guys change a meeting date and time, could you please make it in red on the website? I was here at 6:30 on Thursday night, except the meeting was at 11 in the morning. So please make it red, because I did catch the day change, but I did not catch the time change. So that's one. Pool, Pemberton, College. So update, the proposals from developers are due this Friday by 10 o'clock. I'm just letting you know that that is the status right now. I don't know if anybody's going to be submitting. I'll be going to the Board of Trustees meeting on Tuesday to find out what came of that. I will reiterate what I stated before. Ms. Hobson, welcome. If the college is successful in selling the Pemberton campus, they need to return $12 million to the county to pay for the $6 million of open space that was open space tax money in Mount Laurel for a piece of property that's not beneficial to the taxpayers, and also to pay for $6 million to put in a new pool. It is fiscally irresponsible to do that. That's why the college should have to return $12 million if they sell the property. Now, is there a committee that's been formed to discuss putting in a pool? Because I would like to serve on that committee. I think I've certainly put in a lot of effort so far. So is there a committee yet to discuss a pool?
I'm not aware of any at this point.
Because I would think that you're going to have one if we don't save Pemberton. So which freeholder now is going to be the liaison with the college? Have you guys selected which one of you is the victim? You? Okay.
She said victim.
I'm just calling it for what it is.
You notice how she was bringing her hand up like,
Let me help you there. All right, and which of you freeholders are on the college's Board of School Estimates?
all three of us.
Three down, okay?
Correct.
And when will you be having that meeting? I know it's an annual meeting, do you have any idea
As
when?
needed, yeah. It's as needed,
Okay,
like once a week.
oh,
I'm just
I was
kidding.
gonna say, I don't think so. I thought it was an annual
In-
meeting.
In all honesty, okay, and I'm gonna put this out there to the public in general.
Mhm.
We've been together now on this board since January 1.
Right, I know.
I know there's high expectations that we're gonna solve everything and we're gonna get everything done in the.
Oh, no, I have low expectations, because I've been at this for a
No,
year and a
not-
half.
In all honesty, we understand a lot of the things that have already been brought up, okay? Some of the behind the scenes semantics about how things work, we're
Still
still
being-
wrapping our hands around.
That's all okay.
Okay.
I'll be at the next meeting, not to worry.
Good, good.
All right, and then I think that's it for the updates. In 2 weeks, I should have a lot more information.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jazz, you took, okay, I'm sorry. Jay Hirus? Hirus? Iris? Mr.
I
Iris?
didn't sign, but I'll be glad to talk for you.
Yeah, well, I got you down here.
My name's John Hirus. I live in Pemberton Township, and I have for many, many years. I was privileged to be the chairman of the committee that developed the plan and compensation for the Governor's Plan and Review Committee many, many years ago. That plan was implemented, and we've done an excellent job of protecting the farmland. However, I'm becoming more and more fearful that it may not last. You have a resource here which is 1 in a million, 1 in the world. It's probably the cleanest water I know in the United States and possibly the world itself. We need to take very, very special care of that. Talking about putting a pipeline in, of course, I think of ruptured pipes. I hear it on the news, I see it, and I worry about that. Is this really been investigated to the point where you can put a pipeline in without having fear of causing tremendous damage that may not be able to be repaired? I don't think so. Question for you, has an environmental impact statement been completed yet for this pipeline? Does anybody know?
There have been some studies, yes.
Pardon me?
There have been some,
Has an environmental impact statement been completed?
I don't think it's necessary.
I think it is necessary.
I mean, that's
You
right.
have a very good resource here, a wonderful resource here, and you're being cavalier in your attitude about it. It's not a joke. Who is laying out this pipeline? I've heard it's the engineer for Burlington County. Is that correct?
No.
No.
Who is
New Jersey Natural Gas.
New Jersey Natural Gas?
Yes.
Have they completed an environmental impact statement?
Hold on, let us answer. I appreciate the help, okay? Yeah, our county engineer is not doing any of that work. It is under New Jersey Natural Gas, as she stated.
No one's answered the question. Has an environmental impact statement been completed? If you don't know,
I don't.
you need to find out.
Okay,
And if it hasn't been completed, it hasn't been undertaken, then you have a serious problem. You're moving blindly in a pristine area. I attended a meeting last year in Eagleswood Township in which South Jersey Gas wants to put a pipeline across part of Barnegat Bay. And I asked, have you done an environmental impact statement? No, we haven't. You're taking the chance of destroying a tremendous amount of wetlands, the seashore community. Why hasn't this been done? Has the State Environmental Protection Agency been involved in this? Have they reviewed it? Have they given you a report? Has the Pinelands Commission done this? If not, you people are negligent, and you need to think about this twice. I don't think any work should be done until this type of investigation is completed, and I hope you'll do it as soon as possible. Thank you.
thank you.
Did you, at the beginning, did you mention you were part of the team that did the comprehensive management plan for the Pinelands? Is that what I heard?
I was a member of the Governor's Pinelands Review Committee many years ago.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry, I just thought wanted like.
And I was the chairman of the Committee for Management and Compensation. And basically, our subcommittee laid out the Pinelands Protection Plan, which became enacted by state and federal legislation.
Wow.
And it's protected very well to this time. I hate to see that all go down the tubes. I hate to see it be destroyed. And really, you have to take it, this is a very important thing you're doing here. And I think there's a cavalier attitude here. Possibly you don't understand the severity of this problem that we need to address. Please do so as soon as possible.
Will do. Thank you, sir. Agnes Marcello?
Yeah, Agnes Marcel, Chesterfield, New Jersey. Welcome to Freeholder Housing. Congratulations, Director Pulliam, Deputy Director Singh, and Happy New Year. I almost did comment on the agenda because I was very disappointed to not see on the agenda rescission of Resolution 2018-0064. That was the rescission to close the roads, I believe, that you guys took up last year. My question is, have you received from Chesterfield Township their resolution 2018-12-9 and from North Hanover Township 2019-27? And if you haven't, I have copies of them for you. Very well written, especially, I mean, not to deter and take anything from North Hanover, but Gillespie did a fantastic job on this resolution, asking you to rescind Resolution 2018-0064. As it's been stated, I think you should just terminate Commissioner Erlin from the Pinelands Commission. I know it might be a laborious process to find a replacement, but he serves at your pleasure. And there are there are vacancies on the board right now on the commission. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife appointee is not on the commission right now. He died and he hasn't been reappointed. So there are precedents for vacancies. So you can take him off right now.
Yep.
He serves at your pleasure. So then you can work on getting someone new. Because as this woman said, we have had many candidates. Among them Rita Romeo, who has gone any way she can trying to get on that board. Through the governor, through you guys, and I think she'd be a fabulous pick. Anyway, like I said, just terminate him. He has just been, Mayor Erland has just been appointed chairman of the Burlington County Republican Committee. And as such, I feel his ability to act in a bipartisan manner for the citizens of Burlington County on that commission is called into question. Mainly because of his record of acting in a very partisan way. And now, it's bolstered by him being the head of the Republican Party. I think we'll get no relief from Mayor Erland on any questions on the Pineland that go against any Republican agenda, especially now that he is the chair of the Republican Committee. So I wish you all well in the new year. I wish to see that resolution on the agenda next time I come here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the next one is Floyd White from Mount Laurel. Is that correct?
Give no comments, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Larry Tibday?
No
Is that right?
comment.
Nothing?
No comments.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Sarah Hawley from Willingboro?
No comment.
Thank you, ma'am. And Jacqueline Jennings from Willingboro?
No comment except to wish you all a prosperous and healthy, effective year.
Thank you very much. Okay, not hearing any more comments from the public. I'll turn to comments by the freeholders. Freeholder Tiber.
Thank you, Director. I'd like to wish everybody a Happy New Year for those of you who weren't at reorg and we didn't get to see it. Just wanted to make a comment on item G2. This was a resolution or ordinance that was passed back in 2016. And basically what it said was that if you were collecting a taxpayer-funded pension and you wanted to come to work for the county, they were asking you to freeze your pension if you were going to come to work and collect the salary. None of the other freeholders were on this board, so we're going to speak for them, but I was on this board, and that's why it was passed. We didn't think that it was fair to be able to collect a taxpayer-funded pension and then come back and work and collect a salary as well. If you're retired, you're retired. That was just my thoughts. I mean, there's plenty of people in the county that don't even have a pension. They have to work until they die, and I don't think it's fair that they're allowed to do that. It's no secret, I work for a union, and my members themselves, and I work for a pension, and I want to be able to retire someday. My union alone, if you work doing heavy equipment operating and you retire, you're retired. If you want to come back to work, or you get caught doing that type of work while you're retired, you lose your pension. So that's basically what that was all about, and we thought that was helping the taxpayers. So that's why I voted no on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Freeholder Hobson.
Just want to thank everyone for attending the meeting. Happy New Year to everyone, and please continue to come out and give us your thoughts on what we're doing right and wrong. So I'm looking forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Freeholder Singh.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, everyone, for coming and stating your positions on our issues. We are taking into consideration all of these things, and hopefully in due time we'll bring it to the public agenda. I'm actually quite surprised, quite a rich coming from you, all that should be about taxpayers. Considering just last month you stick to the taxpayers, when you decide to vote for your employer to fund your salary, I'm actually very surprised. You just don't remember your own vote.
You need to get your facts straight, because that's a good one.
We don't go back and forth, you have time, thank you. But it's quite rich, just coming back a month later, you have all the same protection for the taxpayers, and you didn't get a single second when you decided to vote, considering that's completely unethical to vote for any contract or any work, knowingly it's going to directly go to your own employer. I mean, it's a shock. I like your concerns in terms of taxpayers, and I think at the same time we have to look at the people and the talent they bring, considering if you're working in law enforcement and other professions, sometimes you retire at the age of 40. And right now, today, we actually just had a conversation about hiring people with experience. Our own prosecutor's office is going through that. We're not able to hire people at salaries that we have offered because the people who want higher salaries is they want to come with experience. So what do? You have to have people with experience, but at the same time, you don't want to pay them much. So where is the balance? I think, as the director said, the resolution was redundant, and we all know why it was passed, because there was a retired police officer, someone who served the country, served the community, was running for a public office, and as the Republican freeholders at the time wanted to turn it into a news cycle's headlines, and decided to take the action. We all know what happened at that time. It had nothing to do with anybody else. So it's quite a rich to see when the tables turn all of a sudden you are worried about the taxpayers. Everyone, thank you so much for coming.
I too want to thank everybody for coming. As I stated previously, I'm sorry.
I think there were a number of people that they still wanted to do public.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Just for future notice, what we do is they put a clipboard out front. So if you are going to make a return and would like to speak, we kind of go by this. But if nobody has, anybody have any problems with letting the public speak a little bit more?
No.
Okay. All right. So I don't have a list. Why don't you come up first?
Come on.
Good evening. This is my first Freeholders meeting, so can you explain to me the process?
Sure. All we need to know is your name and address, please, for the records.
Sure. My name is Maureen Ford, 215 Canary Lane, Mount Holly, New Jersey.
Okay. And
Okay, so I came here. This might be redundant, but I just found this out last week. I'm coming here in regard to the pool for Pemberton, New Jersey, run by Rowan by BCC. I was just informed the pool will be closing sometime in June, and I'd like to know what's going on. I have a sick child that requires that pool. One of the lifeguards just happened to be talking about it, and I happen to overhear, and I'd like to know what's going on. I pay a lot of taxes in this town. I pay a lot of taxes in the county. If that pool is not going to be used for the community or used for the county, you're asking people to drive to Camden. They're maybe half will drive, the other half are going to go somewhere else, and the other half won't do anything at all. So I'm not sure if
I can answer your questions. Carol.
Carol. Hi, Carol.
All right. Is it all right if I answer her questions? All right. So the pool right now, do we know it's open through June 7th? Ideally, if they don't get any proposals to develop it from the developers that came to the campus back in December, then the talk that I'm hearing is that the college trustees are starting to become inclined to turn over the entire Pemberton campus to the freeholders for the $1, so it would then become a Burlington County property.
Okay.
And the goal is to turn the athletic building into, hopefully, if the freeholders are amenable to this, to turn it into a community center, so that we then have that pool and the 84 swim meets that are going on. Currently, there are swim meets right now, and the hundreds of people that are at the pool daily, that will continue. So that's the goal, and I will be posting updates at the pool as I have them. So you will see them hanging up on the doors, and I'll be happy to give you my feedback.
The second thing that come to my attention, this is my first meeting. I did sit on Mount Holly Township Committee for 10 years. I did resign last year due to some illnesses I had from Afghanistan. My husband is now a member. He's taken my spot. But I had no idea what was going on in the Pinelands. I'd like to voice my opinion about the Pinelands. It's an atrocity. I'm sitting here listening to people fighting for the wetlands, the Pinelands. Some of that area is connected to Joint Base McGuire Dick Lakehurst. So what portion of that is the pipeline going to be running through? Is the base going to be having a pipeline run through it, or is it just going to be running through the Pinelands? That's the question that I'd like to know. Because there are soldiers that are back there in those pinelands and in those woods in camps that prepare themselves to go to different countries in the war zone. Okay, so you have a pipeline going through there, you have these soldiers, and because not only am I a disabled veteran, I used to work also for the government, for the VA, so I do know there are plenty of, I'd say, personnel, armed forces personnel, that are in those pinelands and in those woods, in the backwoods back there, and they're in what's called camps, okay? And those camps go by whatever country we, the United States of America, are sending our troops to, okay? And they don't get hot meals, they live in tents, they have to sleep on the ground. So that's a big concern to me also, now since it has been brought to my attention about this pipeline. Congratulations on all your appointees. I look forward to seeing you at every single meeting until something turns around between Pemberton and between the Pinelands. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
That's my email. Keep you updated.
I'm Jane Franz, and I'm from Bordentown City. And Bordentown City has a number of issues and concerns. The compressor station for that pipeline is close by. We also are having possible impact from the hazardous waste site across the river in Falls Township, Pennsylvania, the Elcon site. We're very concerned about that. And we are having trouble also with foul air coming from the waste management site, but we assume that's where it's coming from. I had a visit today from Tom Fox of the Burlington County Health Department. 6 people had called from Bordentown City complaining about air quality yesterday, and he came out to check things out, and I'm very pleased about that. But it's something that we really need to take care of. I know all those the issues with Pennsylvania are very difficult, but as a county, it really does affect many of your constituents. And also the pipeline going through neighboring townships, neighboring to Bordentown and Bordentown City. We need to get rid of that. We need to have that resolution rescinded and protect our residents and the pinelands. I'm not going to repeat what everybody else said, but we really need to protect the pinelands. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Happy New Year, and thanks for the opportunity. My name is Ryan Greck, I'm with Highlands Preservation Alliance. I am here as well as a number of other folks regarding the Southern Reliability Link pipeline. I just wanted to point out, I found it striking, I was here at the meeting last month, and that the Burlington County's own engineer, as well as I believe one of the freeholders, alluded to the fact that the route chosen for the Southern Reliability Link pipeline is not a good one, and is not one that the county itself would prefer. This was chosen by BPU. We would encourage this board to do everything in your power to push back against BPU on the route if you believe that it is unsafe for your citizens. Of course, in addition to the fact that there are at least 9 court cases pending against the New Jersey Natural Gas, PPA is involved in a number of those. We're asking you to do what you can to protect the pinelands. Whether that be rescinding the decision that was made last month regarding road opening permits, or to appoint commissioners to the Pinelands Commission, which is supposed to be a nonpartisan, independent body who are committed to upholding the CMP, the Comprehensive Management Plan, and committed to protecting the pinelands. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Patty Caruso, Wrightstown, New Jersey. Happy New Year to everyone. I just wanted to make this short and sweet. We've come to a lot of these meetings over the last 3.5 years, and we're asking you to please rescind the road closure permits that were agreed upon at the last meeting. It seems very obvious that there is a conflict of interest when 2 members of the board are involved with unions for Local 825. The pipeline would cost $178 million, 100% of which would be paid for by New Jersey natural gas ratepayers. The courts, given all of the court cases, they really should have the opportunity to fully consider cases before the pipeline is built, not after it's in the ground. There have been thousands of explosions from pipelines, and I'm sure 99.9% of the union workers that put pipelines in are competent, professional, know how to do their jobs, but due to a multitude of variables, there are explosions. And there are more explosions in recent years than there have been in previous years. I don't know how many of you here in this room are parents, but I'm a parent of 3 boys. We've tried to raise them to do the right thing, to do the ethical thing, to stand up and be leaders, even if you're saying something that's not a popular opinion. It has been very frightening. This pipeline would run directly in front of my house. It's the size of a hula hoop. Just the sheer fear that we've been experiencing if this is approved and goes in the ground it's like, I can't even express the terror that I feel that this could be right in front of my house. We live out on this peaceful country road, and this could be railroaded right down our street. There is no need for this. Please, you can remove Sean Erlin. Can you select someone who cares about the Pinelands, who is an advocate for the Pinelands, who wants to protect them? Not just run more natural gas through them that the state does not need. This is a national treasure. And it was very impressive when you spoke that all of the work that was done so many years ago has held up until this point. Please don't let all of the work and all of the people that have helped create this treasure and protect it, please don't give that up for New Jersey Natural Gas to make millions of dollars. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Alan Crawford. I'm a resident here in Mount Holly. Others tonight have spoken about the finer points of the pipeline issue, so I'll forego all that. Yeah, I believe the pipeline is a scandal, soon to become a fiasco, but it seems like just one move in a larger, longer game. A game played by moneyed interests whose ultimate goal is getting its hands on the largest remaining parcel of undeveloped land left here in New Jersey. The quickest route to that goal would be to undermine the land's protections, which would thereby eventually result in making that land no longer worth caring about. And that is my main concern. And I just wanted to voice that long-term concern because I think we get caught up in a lot of the details and we don't see the longer game. And I do believe that that is the longer game, which is why I also urged the Board of Freeholders to assign a new commission member for Burlington County. This isn't personal. I do not personally know Mr. Erlin, but I do know how he votes, and I do believe it is against the interests of this county and its citizens, and I also believe it is against the interests of our futures. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Colby Tippins from Atlantic County, and I drove here caring about the Pinelands deeply. And just in simplistic terms, I'd like you to consider your options: money for some, or Mother Nature for all and forevermore.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, I'll close comments of the public. I guess everybody had their chance, now it's mine. I think, to start, I don't know anybody out there want to think that we don't care about the Pinelands, and we don't know what's being done to the residents of Burlington County. The sheer amount of legislation and legal action that is occurring right now, it's extremely hard to put the pieces together when you're coming in after the fact. Our new solicitor and the board, it has already had some discussions relative to some new things that have come about, and we're going to be taking whatever action we can in accordance with that. I personally, as the director of this board, will do everything in my power, everything legally accessible to us to make sure that we stop it, and I will do my best to do that for all of you. What I was getting at is, some people have had an opportunity to follow this for years, and it has been years. Some of us coming on the board, the sheer amount of information that has been compiled relative to this, it's very hard to sift through. And we have to be cautious. We have to make sure that the action we do take is something that's going to make a difference, rather than just want to snap judgment, knee-jerk reaction. But like I said, all of us here, we don't like what's happened, and we're going to do everything in our power to help this stop.
Change the chair, that would make a difference.
That is one of the legalities that we have to look at. There are rules to that board. We don't know what powers we do have, we don't have. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Okay, and believe me, in my opinion, for me, if Mr. Irwin can be replaced, I'll be the first to vote to replace him. Okay. One thing I also want to say is, today, believe it or not, was Law Enforcement Recognition Day. Thanks so much. We have a lot of people here, our sheriff and the sheriff's department. A lot of people don't know what they do every single day to ensure safety to the people that work here in the county, and I, for one, very much appreciate that. With that being said, for the folks that I haven't been able to extend a Happy New Year to you and your families, all the best, and please do us a favor, come back. We really welcome your opinions. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
So moved.